"Uncle, I can make your daughter walk again," the barefoot boy said, his voice calm, too calm for a child standing alone with a plastic bag full of empty bottles. The man in the navy blue suit froze. He glanced sideways, confused, then annoyed.
"What did you say?" I said. "She doesn't need pity, she needs me," the boy repeated, eyes not moving, not begging, just saying it like a fact. People walked past. A security guard stepped forward but stopped when the boy raised his hand gently, like he was about to explain something, not cause trouble. "You're a beggar, and you're standing outside a hospital," the man said, brows furrowed. "What could you possibly do that the doctors inside couldn't?" The boy tilted his head slightly, as if trying to explain something to a child. "You've tried everything rich people try. Let someone poor try now." That sentence landed like a stone in the
man's chest. His daughter, 14 years old, hadn't stood since the accident. Millions had been spent. Surgeries, specialists, therapy in Europe. Nothing. The boy, maybe 9 or 10, no shoes, skin dark from sun and dust, looked straight through him like he already knew that. The man shook his head. "You're insane." But then the boy said something no one outside their home should know. "She cries at night. In her sleep, she says, 'I didn't ask to fall. I didn't ask to break.' And she touches her knees with both hands like she's still falling." The man's eyes widened, his lips parted, but no sound came. "She thinks it was her fault," the boy added. "How do you know that?" the man said quietly. The boy didn't answer. He just looked through the glass doors of the hospital. Inside, a thin girl sat in a wheelchair, back turned, shoulders curled forward like her bones were too heavy to carry. She doesn't believe she'll ever walk again, the boy said. That's why she won't. The man's chest tightened. His instinct said this boy was crazy. But another part, some deep, ancient part, said this was real. Not magic, not fake. Something else. He clenched his jaw. "If you touch her—" "I won't touch her," the boy interrupted. "Unless she asks me to." The man stared at him for several long seconds, then without a word, he walked inside. 3 minutes later, he returned with 2 guards and his daughter in the wheelchair. She looked bored, tired. Her eyes were dull like glass marbles. "Sweetheart," the man said, kneeling beside her. "Do you want to try something different?" She barely moved her head. "What kind of different?" He hesitated, then stepped aside. The girl's gaze landed on the boy. "Is this a joke?" she whispered. "No joke," the boy said. "Only a choice," she frowned. "You look like you haven't eaten in days." "I haven't," he said plainly. "You think you can fix my spine? No. But I can help you remember how it felt before it broke." That line did something. Her fingers twitched. Her face changed. Not smiling, but no longer blank. She nodded once. "Everyone stay back," the boy said. "Even you, Uncle." He walked to her side, knelt, and gently placed his palm just above her ankle. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then she blinked. Her mouth opened slightly. Her toes moved. The guard stepped forward. "Don't touch her," the boy warned. Her fingers clenched the sides of the wheelchair. Her knees jerked. Her legs trembled like something inside them was waking up. She gasped. "It hurts." "That means you're feeling them again," the boy said. Tears streamed down her face. "Why are you crying?" the boy asked softly. "Because I forgot they were mine," the boy smiled faintly. "Now remember how they used to carry you." And then she stood, shaking, crying, barely balanced, but standing. Her father dropped to his knees, hands over his mouth. His wife screamed. One guard crossed himself. The other backed away like he'd seen a ghost.
The boy stood too. His hands dropped to his sides, his breathing shallow. "I'm not healing her," he said to no one in particular. "She is." The girl looked down at her legs, her feet, and then at him. "Who are you?" she asked. The boy wiped his nose with the back of his hand. No one. But the truth was, he wasn't no one. That night, the millionaire couldn't sleep. He watched the hospital footage again and again. There was no trick, no device, no explanation. He sent people to find the boy. They couldn't. He was gone. Gone before any news crew arrived. Gone before doctors came to test or question. But 3 days later, the girl, walking now without help, was standing in her backyard when she saw him, sitting near the old fountain, alone. Same clothes, same plastic bag. "You left," she said. "You didn't need me anymore," he replied. She sat beside him. "What are you?" "I don't know," he said. "I just know when people are in pain. And I know what part of them forgot how to fight." She looked at him quietly. "Did it hurt you when you helped me?" The boy smiled sadly. "Every time
I help someone, I lose something." "What did you lose?" He looked at his hands. "I used to run. Now I get tired walking." She didn't speak for a long time. "Why do you keep helping people if it hurts you?" He looked at her, eyes heavy. "But kind, because it hurts more to walk past them." "Do you want me to fix her or keep explaining myself?" the boy said sharply, his voice stronger than his frame. The girl's mother stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes hard. "You don't touch my daughter until I know who you are." "No. Tricks," she added. "No promises," the boy replied. "Just results." She hesitated. His voice wasn't arrogant. It was tired. Not the tired of a child skipping meals. It was older than that, heavier. But when her daughter stood, shaking, pale, barely breathing, something inside her husband changed. He went silent, ice cold. He pulled his wife aside in the hallway that night and whispered, "No media, no reporters. No one hears about this." She nodded at first. But something in her chest twisted. She'd just seen her daughter walk again, and the boy who'd made it happen had vanished before they could ask anything. She didn't sleep that night. At 4 a.m., she slipped out without telling anyone and searched the area near the hospital. A guard recognized her from the news and pointed down an alley. "He sleeps by the old bus stop," the guard said, "but he don't beg, just stares at the sky and talks to himself." She found him there, curled up under a plastic sheet, a thin piece of cardboard under his head. He didn't hear her steps. He was too busy rubbing a crying baby's back, a baby with a hacking cough that shook its chest like a storm. The baby stopped coughing 5 seconds after his hand landed on its back. She saw it, plain as daylight. "You're not normal," she said, her voice flat. The boy looked up slowly. His face was calm but pale. "I never asked to be born with this," he said quietly. "What is it?" she asked. "I don't know," he whispered. I know when someone's in pain. I feel it like it's happening to me. And I know how to take it away." She looked at the baby in his lap. "How many people have you healed?" He shook his head. "I don't count. Some don't even know it's me. Some feel better and think the medicine finally worked. I leave before they ask questions." "And my daughter? She believed it was possible. That's the first step. That's the hardest part. Belief hurts more than pain." "Does it hurt you?" she asked. He looked away. "Every time." The next morning, she returned home. Her daughter was already awake, walking the garden path barefoot like she was afraid it might disappear. She looked lighter, taller, like something had lifted off her shoulders. Her husband, however, sat in the study with the door locked.
She knocked. No answer. She opened it anyway. He sat at his desk, phone in hand, eyes staring at nothing. "I saw him," she said. He looked up. "You followed him?" "He saved our child, and we just let him sleep under a broken bus shelter like trash." "What do you want me to do? Give him a bed in our guest house?" "Yes," she said instantly. "I want him protected, watched, understood. He's dangerous." "No, he's dying." That made him flinch. "What do you mean?" "He's, not getting stronger when he heals. He's breaking. Slower than the ones he helps, but breaking." The millionaire said nothing. Then finally, "That's not our problem." "Yes, it is," she said. "He saved our family. And we're going to leave him in the street like a dog?" 2 days later, the boy collapsed. Not in front of cameras. Not in a crowd. Quietly, while walking past a bakery, looking in the window, he dropped to one knee, then the other. A woman screamed. People ran. The millionaire's wife had given her number to a vendor nearby. That man called her. By the time she reached him, he was curled up in a ball, sweating, shivering. She knelt beside him and touched his back. "What do you need?" "Nothing," he whispered. "Just time." But his body said otherwise. She took him home, no permission from her husband, no warning to the staff. She just brought him upstairs, helped him bathe, dressed him in her son's old clothes, and put him in the guest room. He slept for 24 hours. When he woke up, her daughter was sitting next to him holding a tray. "You slept like a rock," she said. He blinked. "I'm still here." "You're not going anywhere," she replied. He sat up slowly, wincing. "I didn't mean to scare anyone." "You saved me," she said. "You're allowed to scare us once in a while." They sat in silence for a while. Then he spoke again. "You want to know how I got this gift?" She nodded. He took a breath. "When I was 5, I got very sick.
My mother said I wouldn't make it. No money. No hospital would take me. But I saw something in a dream. A woman with no face. She touched my chest and said, 'Live, but don't waste it.' And I woke up. And then?" the girl asked. "Next
day, my fever broke. My mother called it a miracle, but the next time she got sick, I touched her, and she got better. I got weak, but she smiled. I liked that smile." He paused. "Next was my sister, then a neighbor, then a stranger. Each time, something inside me left and didn't come back." She looked down. "And me?" He smiled. "You were worth it." That evening, her father came into the room. The boy was awake, sipping soup. The girl sat nearby, reading. "You look better," the man said. "I'm not," the boy replied honestly. "I need to ask," the man said slowly. "What do you want?" The boy looked up. "Nothing." "You don't want money, a house, school, anything?" The boy shrugged. "What would I do in school? They'd ask me to sit still and not feel too much." The man sighed. "Then what
should we do with you?" "Let me rest," he said. "And if you know anyone else who's hurting, let me try." "You think this is magic?" he whispered, coughing into his sleeve, blood staining his palm. "It's a trade." The millionaire stared at the boy, frozen. "You're dying?" he asked. The boy gave a faint nod. "She's walking, so yes." His voice was thinner now. Even his breath sounded tired. Across the garden, the girl, no longer in her chair, stood under a tree watching. Her hand trembled. She had heard it all. The guilt came fast. It didn't knock. It kicked the door in. "I didn't ask you to do this for me," she said. "You didn't have to."
the boy replied, barely turning his head. You cried in your sleep. That was enough. She walked toward him, then stopped halfway. She was afraid to get too close, like her presence might take more from him. You gave me your legs, she whispered. No, he said softly. I gave you back what was already yours. His skin was grey now, his lips cracked, his hands shook without stopping. Doctors couldn't figure out what was happening. They said his vitals dropped when no illness was present. They tried to hospitalize him. He escaped the same night. Now he sat at the mansion's fountain like he was waiting for something, or someone, to say goodbye. The millionaire stood near the house window, watching it all from a distance. His jaw clenched. He hated feeling helpless. He hated feeling human. His wife came beside him, folded her arms. You see it now, don't you? I see a dying boy, he said. No, you see a miracle, and you can't control it. He turned his face away. She continued. He's breaking down because of what he's done for us, for her. He should have said no, the man replied coldly. He's a child. So is our daughter, he snapped. I was supposed to be her hero. And he was. Silence. He walked out to the fountain. The boy didn't look up. You could have told me you'd be the one paying for her healing. I didn't know how much it would take, the boy said. Some people only need a touch. She needed all
Of me? Why? The man asked. Because she had given up, the boy said. And when someone gives up, they become heavy. I could have saved her some other way, he said, voice low. You would have tried for 10 more years, maybe more, but you never would have believed in her like I did. The man sat down across from him. The marble edge of the fountain was cold, hard. Why do you help people when it costs you this much? The boy's head tilted up. Because
pain screams louder when you felt it before. The girl came outside just before sunset. She wore the same dress she had on the day of her accident. White, simple. She wanted to remember the moment before she lost everything. The boy was still, sitting at the fountain, eyes half closed. Do you remember what you told me? She asked him. I've told you many things. That belief hurts more than pain. He smiled weakly. It does. Then why do you believe in people? Because they forget how to believe in themselves. And I remember for them. Her eyes filled. I don't want to forget you. You won't, he said, coughing again. Your legs won't let you. That night, the millionaire made a decision. He didn't sleep, didn't eat. He sat at his desk, staring at a piece of paper with just 2 words. Save him, but how? Money didn't work. Doctors were clueless. Security couldn't stop him from running away. What if he didn't need medicine? What if he needed relief? The next morning, the boy was gone. The girl woke up early, nervous, stomach tight, and ran to the fountain. Empty. She searched the garden, nothing. She screamed for the guards. No one had seen him leave. 12 hours later, a call came, a clinic 3 cities away. They found a boy collapsed outside their door.
No ID? Just a note pinned to his chest. If I wake up, don't ask me who I am, just tell me if the girl can still walk. The millionaire took a helicopter. His wife begged to come. He said no. His daughter tried to follow. He said it wasn't safe. When he arrived, the clinic's head nurse pulled him aside. He's awake, she said. But he's not the same. What do you mean? He remembers nothing. Not his name, not yours. not the girl. Nothing.
The man's knees nearly gave out. He walked into the room slowly. The boy sat on the bed, back straight, looking out the window like it was the first one he'd ever seen. He turned as the man entered. "Do I know you?" the boy asked. The man swallowed hard. No, not anymore. He sat beside him. For a long time, neither spoke. Then the boy broke the silence. "There was a girl," he said suddenly. "She had a sad voice." The man's heart stopped. "I hear her sometimes," the boy whispered. "In my dreams. Like someone who almost forgot how to cry." He looked down at his hands. "They feel lighter now." The man nodded. "Because they already carried something no child ever should," the boy smiled faintly. "I want to go somewhere with trees." The man leaned forward. "You'll go wherever you want." The boy looked at him for a long time. "You're not like the
"Others?" he said. "Why do you say that?" "Because when I look at you, I feel guilt."
That night, the man drove the boy back in silence. The girl ran out when she saw them. He stared at her like something inside him was trying to remember. She didn't speak, just took his hand and led him back to the fountain. He looked at it. "This place is in my dreams," he said. She smiled. "You used to sit right there." He nodded slowly. "Did I fix you?" he asked. She started crying. He reached for her hand. "Then it was worth it." "Please," the girl cried, her fingers shaking as they wrapped around his. "Let me walk with you this time." The boy looked at her. His eyes were soft, tired but peaceful. "I don't think I can walk anymore," he said, "but I'm glad."
"You can." She sank to the ground beside him. "Then I'll sit with you." "No," he whispered. "You've already sat long enough."
The millionaire stood in the hallway, watching it all. He hadn't said a word since they brought the boy back. The boy didn't remember names, but his heart still remembered kindness, pain, purpose, and love. That was the part no one could explain. No blood test could measure it. No brain scan could prove it. But you could see it in the way the girl stayed by his side every hour. Even when the boy forgot her name, he never asked her to leave. Later that night, the boy stirred. The girl leaned
over. "Are you okay?" He nodded weakly. "I saw her again," he whispered. "Who?" "The woman with no face." "The one from your dream?" she asked. He nodded. "She said it's time, but I asked her to wait." "For what?" He looked at her hand resting over his. "I wanted to say thank you," she broke.
Her shoulders shook, but she held her sobs back. "You saved me," she said. "I saved a lot of people," he whispered. "But you're the only one who stayed." At 2:14 a.m., he stopped breathing. No sound. No struggle. He just closed his eyes like sleep finally took him after years of fighting it. The girl didn't move for 5 minutes, not even to blink. Then she stood. On her own. No cane.
No fear. No hesitation. And walked to the door. Her father was sitting outside. She knelt down beside him, put her head on his shoulder. "He's gone," she said quietly. "I know. I want to do something," she said. He looked at her. "I
want to tell his story." They buried him under a tree just outside the city. No reporters, no crowd. Only 3 people stood there, the millionaire, his wife, and their daughter. The gravestone was simple. It didn't have his name, only these words: "He gave so others could stand." The change wasn't loud. It didn't come with headlines or breaking news. It started with a building, a small clinic. In a poor street the millionaire had never cared to notice before. It had no marble, No logo, just one sign. The boys' room. Inside was a bed, a wooden bench, a photo of the boy the daughter had drawn from memory, and a quiet space for anyone in pain. No bills, no signatures, just help. The millionaire kept building them. One turned into 5, then 15, each in a forgotten place. He'd walk the streets himself, find someone coughing, limping, shivering in a corner, and tell them, "I knew someone who healed people like you." They'd ask where the boy was, and he'd reply, "Gone, but not really." The daughter didn't return to the life she once had. No more galas, no more fundraisers. She spent her days walking from room to room in those clinics, sitting with mothers, listening to their pain, and before she left each room, she'd whisper, "He heard you." One day, a nurse in a remote clinic found a girl lying on a bench, barely breathing. The nurse panicked, ran for help, but when she returned, the girl was sitting up. The fever gone, the pain vanished, and beside her, a boy had been seen standing.
At the door, no one knew him, no one saw where he went, but a child pointed and said, "He smiled at me before he left."
He had kind eyes. The nurse looked for hours. He was nowhere. Back in the city, the millionaire sat alone in his office. In front of him, stacks of letters, all from people who had walked into one of his clinics broken and left whole. He opened.
One, then another, and another. One letter simply said, "I was going to end my life."
But someone sat next to me and cried with me until I didn't want to anymore. I never got his name, but he saved me. The millionaire smiled sadly. He looked out the window, whispered, "Thank you, son." That night, he took his daughter's drawing and framed it. The boy's face. Those eyes. He placed it above his desk, not as a decoration, as a reminder that miracles don't always come in robes or light. Sometimes they come barefoot, hungry, with a cough and no name, but they leave behind something no grave can hide. Final lines, and in every clinic, every home, every hospital where someone cries from pain they can't name, they tell the story of the boy who gave everything and never once asked for anything back, not even thanks, not even a name.